How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's time again to get into some animation. It's time to get creative. It's time to get imaginative, and it's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from, and I didn't write it down here, and I like to have it up here so you guys can see here as well. And that is Osamu Tezuka. And if you're not familiar with him, he is what is his common nickname, I guess, would be the godfather of manga, or the godfather of like the Japanese anime style. And I'll go ahead and have a little clip running on the side here of a little experimental short animation that he did. You're probably familiar with Astro Boy. That's probably his biggest franchise that he was behind. And he's just an amazing illustrator, an amazing storyteller, and just all around phenomenal person to study, creative person to study. So I had a couple quotes from him that I wanted to share with you guys too as well. And there you go. I don't consider them pictures. In reality, I'm not drawing. I'm writing a story with a unique type of symbol. And I think that's an interesting way to look at the creative field, is that whatever medium you're using, it's just really there as a tool to tell a story or to share an idea or an experience or a thought. And it's not necessarily the medium that you master, but rather what's behind that. You know, you can be a sculptor, and the end result is you want to tell a story through that way, or to portray some type of feeling or emotion to the viewer or your audience. But just look at how creative those guys are. I love how imaginative his stuff is. It's great. Alright, and the other one was comics are an international language. They can cross boundaries and generations. Comics are a bridge between all cultures. And I think that's totally true, but I think it's more than just comics. I think, animation, any sort of visual, or a lot of audio media as well, just real instrumental type of music. There's just something that resonates with us as human beings with any sort of visual thing that we see. That's why pictures are so powerful. You have these, images, or a lot of people are talking about flags these days, but it's just there's these icons that people latch onto, and like he was talking about, these symbols that tell a story, and it's important to get the right feeling behind that kind of stuff. But definitely check out his work. I will link to the site as well, and books of his. There's just so many phenomenal things. I know that Miyazaki, who I probably reference way too much because he's one of my all-time favorites, was really heavily inspired by Tezuka. And I think a lot of times, if you find someone's work that you really like, I think the next level, once you've kind of absorbed a good amount of what you can from them, is to go to the people that they were influenced by, because it's kind of like taking a formula in math and really breaking it down to its original essence. If you can take, and I'm sure I haven't studied Tezuka as much as I would have liked, but I'd like to, once I'm kind of done there, look at who his influences are and just keep going back in that hierarchy to really, let's go ahead and pause that off before we get any ads or anything, to really just find out where the root of all of those influences come, and what's the truth that's been behind each one as it reiterates or changes from there. So that being said, let's get into today's work. We've got a Hare rig. It's a free rig that you can grab down from Creative Crash, not Clash, Crash. I love the Clash, so I think that's probably a great band if you're not familiar with them. But it's Creative Crash, and it's a free rig you can download. I will throw a link in the information below if you guys want to try that out, and don't forget to share back if you guys end up using this rig and creating some awesome animation with it. I'd love to see all the amazing stuff you guys are creating. If you're not familiar with what we're going to do today, give ourselves anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, and 48 frames, and see what we can come up with. I've never used this rig before, so that'll present a couple new challenges, and we'll go through how to address those and what way that might influence our creativity. and just kind of have some fun. So a little bit over the shoulder, a little bit of instructional, and most of all, just sharing this creative process with you guys, and hopefully you'll learn something, or at least get inspired to make something all your own. Alright, so let's get started then. First thing I like to do when working with a character is to give them a floor or something to stand on, just so we have some reference there. And then let's go ahead and save our file and do File Save As. We are using Maya 2014 today, which I will throw a link in the information below to that. I know there are newer versions, but I tend to like to use a little bit of older ones just because they use a little less system resources, which is helpful for when I'm recording and sharing with you guys as well. So we're just going to call this Hare Walk. And I was thinking for this walk, I try to go in pretty fresh with these, but I do like to think a little bit, giving ourselves a few minutes just to process what kind of might be a fun idea. And I think for this one, we want to do a double bounce. So we'll have really, because it's a rabbit, it's got to be bouncy. And I was thinking maybe some little pointing down fingers might be fun to do just to give them some character. And then maybe a little extra swing on the hips might be fun as well. So with that being said, let's go in here. It's good to always have a fun idea to start with. That being said, sometimes I find animation is kind of like sketching for myself, where I'll come up with an idea to start with, and then I might change that idea as I go. But if I know for myself, the ones where I have a really strong idea of what I want to do to begin with, those ones tend to sometimes be a little more successful. Now, it doesn't mean I learn as much or I have as much fun, but I think it's probably a stronger idea overall if I keep with the same idea throughout. So it just depends on what kind of a shot you're working on and what kind of mood you're in and what kind of deadlines you have for time and everything as well. It's kind of funky setup for the spine. So let's go ahead and we'll do, guess I'll just do the upper, push back that root. Okay, just want to get kind of a fun starting pose here. It's too bad there isn't another head controller so we could get that nice angled neck. That's okay, so I'll get rid of that. And then we'll get rid of that. So let's see, how can we group them all together? Guess we could do that. And we'll just pull that. No, it's too much bend there. Some real bad posture. Oh, what should we do here? What should we do? I just don't like how it's too camel-y of a neck for me. So maybe we'll just do a little tilt forward. Not very much. Since we can't get the exact idea here, we'll just do a little bit of it. And let's go ahead and rotate those hips down a little bit more. And rotate that tummy out a little more. And take that and we'll put the arms back a little bit. And then we're going to have to push the hips forward a little bit to keep that balance in there. Pull that tail up. be a Y rotate, but it's an X on this rig. That's okay. Just depends on how they oriented it when they were creating it in world space. And let's go ahead and rotate that over here. So far, it's a pretty well-built rig. The neck is a little different than I probably would have approached it, but it is a long neck, so that is that's all right. Just something we got to work around. But that's okay. Let's pull it out there. Actually, let's do this a little bit different than we did on the other side. We'll just grab all of them and rotate them together, and then we'll vary it later. Thumb in a little bit, and a little bit here too. And again, we just want to get a good pose to start off with, a nice storytelling pose. Let's go ahead and pull those up a little bit more. A little bit more. Maybe we'll swing it out a little bit more as well. Just keep that silhouette looking nicer. And pull that finger over and down, over and down. And then let's go ahead and push that foot forward and pull that foot back. Pull those hips down a little bit more. And yeah, we'll add a little bit of rotating stuff in the hips as we. Let's do a little bit of the ears here to start off with. Do you want the ears going forward or back? I think I like them being a little bit forward, having that little bit of curve forward. Okay, so let's go ahead and save our file. We'll do Control S, and then let's get our frame range locked in. And we're going to set that from 0 to 48, which will be 2 seconds of animation. Go ahead and grab all of our controllers. Make sure we have only our NURB curves, NURB surfaces, and polygons selected. And that way we're not keying any geometry stuff that we don't want to. We'll go ahead and set our first frame. Just hit S on the keyboard. And let's go ahead and lock in the feet and the hips first. Since this is walk, those are the most important things. And when you're doing this, it's good to hold down the Shift key. I'm holding down Shift right here, and then pull that forward. That makes sure that I'm staying in, actually I want to go to 24. Make sure that I'm staying in only one axis and not doing multiple axes. The axes. I don't know. Sometimes I like to play around with words, make them sound ridiculous. It's fun. And we'll go set that there, and then we'll push that forward there, pull the hips forward here. And thanks again, everyone, for all the likes and subscribes. Always appreciate it. I hope that you guys are enjoying this and sharing this stuff together and learning every day together. I hope you guys are getting inspired and learning something new or trying out different rigs or just pushing yourself in whatever creative medium you guys are working on. And we're just going to even out. This is the translate from left to right here. The translate Z on the pelvis, just so that's pretty even. And I feel like we could probably push that forward a little bit more. We just want to keep those hips balanced here. Maybe a little bit back. And let's check the spacing between the steps here. Make sure that's fairly even. Doesn't have to be exact, but we want a good balance between those, and that feels pretty even overall. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and save what we have now, and let's raise up those passing positions on those feet. And what I like about this rig is it's really nicely built, but also it runs fairly quickly. There's not a lot of lag while using it, which is nice. I know a lot of the, at least on my system, I tend to get a little bit of lag with some of the newer rigs while using Maya and while streaming. It's a lot there. So this one's built really well, and I appreciate that a lot. I'm just going to do a little bit of... Go back in, make sure we have our keys nailed down here. It's going to be there and there. And we'll raise it up, put a little bit of drag on there, and then it'll plant back down. Now let's go to the other side here. And again, this is going to be a double bounce walk, so we'll get in there and we'll really nail down up and down on those hips, because that's going to be important in a double bounce. It means that it goes up and down 2 times as much as a normal walk would have. No, I want to keep it planted there and go here. It's important to pay attention. Animation. Good tip. Yeah, there you go. So that's much. Okay, now let's go ahead and get in here. So we're going to go... 3, 6, 9, 12. So that way we got that bounce per step. Instead of just up and down, it goes up and down per step, which is how you do a double bounce. Double the bounce. And again, we'll go in and clean this up as well, because I'm sure there's going to be a couple where the bounce is light and heavy just because we're setting up that here. And it's good, I think, for walks, for myself at least, and especially when you're just learning to set up a good system to work on, either work on 10s or work on 12s. Stuff like 12s is really nice because it's easy to do your stuff by 3s, by 2s, or by 4s. It's got a good spread out, so you can build a well-balanced walk by doing, okay, I want 4 frames in front of this, 4 frames behind, or I want 6 frames in front, 6 frames behind. It sets up a good layout and gives you a good formula to go through when you're using a walk. That being said, I believe most people usually do their walks on about 13 frames per second per step. Is pretty much natural, but I think 12s is pretty close, and it's a good way to set up your foundation for when you're doing a walk. And don't forget, it's always fun, especially if you're new at this, to go out and people watch and start learning from actual it's a little heavy on some of those steps. So let's see why is that. So let's minimize it a little bit. It feels like it's a little jerky in a couple of spots. Let's flip it so it's up. Let's see. just too fast for some reason right now, which normally it wouldn't be, but for some reason it's feeling a little jerky. So maybe we'll give ourselves, we'll frame pad it, we'll give ourselves one extra frame per move, see if that'll help clean it up here. And it won't be a traditional double bounce walk that way, but gotta sometimes adapt to what's gonna make the shot the strongest or have the best feel. So let's go ahead and offset now. Okay, that'll work alright for right now. Maybe we could do. Let's see. Okay, now let's go ahead and build in a little bit of side to side. So have the hips lean over that planted foot, and over here. Okay, it's because I'm off on my timing there, so that I want that to be on 6, and then on 18. It's because we have the other thing on 4s that it's throwing me off there. And we want 30. And then we want 42. And let's see. Oh, I want 48. So let's see. No, I'm going to get rid of the up and down. Just not feeling it. So let's go ahead and just go back. And just do up on that, down on that, up on that. Just typical up and down right now. And then if we want to go in and tweak it up later, we'll do that. For now, I'm just going to keep that similar. And then I'll definitely go in and exaggerate the hips then, so we get some swing on that, because I want that to be, there should be some sort of over exaggeration with this character, because it is. So let's see here. Seeing if I can rebuild that in there, but this time it's going to be skewed up and downs here. It's going to be like a big up and down, then a little up and down, then a big one, then a little one. Let's see if that maybe will give us that variety we want where it's not so jerky. Let's see here. Could just be the playback speed that I'm at here, and I might play better there as well. It could be the way I'm seeing some jerky. Okay, let's go pull that down a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and clean up that graph editor so make it so we have a nice clean tangents here. Spline line, spline hygiene. Okay, let's go more so now. first off, let's play blast it real quick, make sure that's working before we go any further. So we're just gonna right click here and just play blast, just to make sure that that's playing alright before we go any further. Yeah, that's playing alright. Okay. And I'll turn our nerve curves back on and let's get back into the rest of it. Okay. And then we want to do a little bit of rotate Z over there to favor that planted foot and favor that one, and we're going to offset that in the chest once we're done here. And zero that out. And clean up that here. Then we're going to do a little bit of rotate Y here to favor that front planted foot, this one over here. And then we're going to favor that one. And that one. And that one. And that one. Yeah, let's clean that and make that nice and fairly even feeling. It's not like it's favoring one leg over the other. And let's go ahead and watch that now. Okay, it's starting to feel alright. And one thing I actually wanted to see if we could do is we have a darn. Well, we do have a little bit. We could do a little bit of that. There we go. Okay. That's what I was hoping to get a little bit. So we got that little bit of it's walking on the balls of the feet here. Let's see. Now one thing that's going to do, that's going to tweak, is we should push our hips forward a little bit more than just a little bit. So the weight is better centered now. And here. A little bit more there as well. So let's watch that. Okay, go ahead and save our file then. Wait for it to load, and let's get into the chest here. So we want to push this that way, so favor that arm forward when that leg's favored forward, and back here, and back that way, and back that way. And back that way. How do we do that? Jumped back a couple of frames for some reason there. Okay. And let's go ahead and clean that up. It's starting to have a little bit of character now. Starting to feel a little bit of character in there. And that's what you want. You just want your walks to feel like there's some personality in there. Now, personality doesn't have to mean over the top, but you want to get some feeling behind it. Otherwise, I don't know. Otherwise, it's not very interesting. And if we're doing animation, if you're using that as a medium, you should really play up some of the stuff with it. Does that mean everything has to be over the top? Absolutely not. But does that mean that you should have everything be toned down all the time? Maybe just shoot live action then. Okay, let's go next one. You know what? Maybe we'll try something different. Why don't we just do up and down on there, and then we'll do the double on the tail there. Can we do that? And just the hips. bounce on the hips, but keep the root on just an up and down. That'll give us more what we're looking for. So that way it's not affecting everything, but it is still in there. Yeah, I think that might be the better way to approach it. Because I still want that feel to be there, but I don't want it to be throughout the whole body, because for some reason that's making this character feel a little jerky to me. And you don't want jerkiness in your animation unless you really are doing like a real quick look or a twist or something where you really want that. But even then I would say, and this is just semantics I guess, but I would say snappiness would be a better feeling to go with than jerkiness. In your animation usually jerky means that it's not as clean as it should be to you, where snappy would be more of a choice, a timing and spacing choice, and jerky I would feel would be more like there's some crust in your animation. Now that being said, and this was something that Marshall Vandruff and Stan Prokopenko were talking about, that I'm finding myself coming to those same conclusions without really thinking about it, is that I like a little bit of grit in stuff. I feel like if there's too much polish, they were talking about more in life drawing, that it's okay to kind of show that element of when you're finding the line. And I mean, you don't want it to be like a third grader, but to have a little bit where it's not just a polished, perfect line. Because, I mean, you could do that in Illustrator then, but to have a little bit of that life behind it. I personally, and it might be just an artistic choice, but I find that I'm coming more to that point where I used to be about trying to find that perfect line and having it have that Illustrator-like quality, and not Illustrator as in someone who illustrates, but Illustrator as in Adobe Illustrator, where you can go in and just be mechanical with your line, and then there won't be any inconsistencies or anything in there. But as I look through Andrew Loomis's book and Bridgman's stuff and everything, they've got a little bit of grit in there, and I think it helps give it that human quality that we like, that those tiny imperfections. Okay, let's go ahead and play up that up and down on the tail. We'll do the double bounce on the tail here too, but we'll delay it a frame from where we have it on the hips. Now we'll probably have to tone this down a lot, because this will probably be way too much. But we'll play around, see if we can get that idea working. Let's see here. Okay, first of all, let's clean up our graph here. Second of all, I think we might need to change around the timing as well, because it just isn't feeling right. And that being said, it could be because the playback isn't pure one for one while I'm recording, so I might just be missing a couple frames here. But I feel like if it's that off when I'm watching it, then it's probably not working right. So let's see here. I think what we want to do is actually have it go the other direction, so it's like shaboom, 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 shaboom. There we go, that might be it. Maybe a little too much. For some reason, this double bounce just isn't working for me on this, so I'm just going to get rid of it. I feel like we're going to lose a little bit of personality there, but just feel like it's not doing the right thing here. So, since we're not doing that idea, I think I'm going to give it up. Let's just do a lot of extra up and down. Like a lot. Let's really push that up and down more. And let's get rid of that too. So let's have this go down there and up there and down there. It's just playing with the timing, kind of slowing it down a little bit, just because I felt the other one just was not getting the feeling that I wanted. Don't know why I'm saying that. So sometimes it's fun to sing. Let's go ahead and do, if I did a little bit of rotates in here. A little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there. And we'll have the belly, I think, go a couple frames behind. Go back to 0. Let's do a 2-frame delay there, so that belly hits a couple frames after the hips win. So let's see here. Here we go. And we got some little sag in that belly. Sag and drag. Sag and drag. That's Haagen-Dazs's first attempt at making ice cream. No. A new flavor? Come on, get that in there. Let's do a little bit of rotate to favor that front step here. Come on, saggy drag. Flavor of ice cream for people in their 60s. Oof, sounds gross. Nickname of my Johnny Mathis cover band? I don't know what sag and drag. Okay, one thing that I'm noticing right off the bat is there's not enough translate Y on those steps. So let's definitely get in here and let's crank them up. Let's go and save our file now. Let's straighten that out. Dance, we get those nice little points. And okay, let's get that hand pose there. let's go ahead and zoom it forward, back, forward. I think that should be the other way around for this one. So, let's flip it. We'll move it to 6. Because you want it to feel a little crank-like. So I feel like pushing down, not swinging. And then let's go ahead and delete those two by a frame. Actually, yeah. Delete those two by a frame, and then delete that one by a frame, so they're not all hitting at the same time. Okay, let's go ahead and save that, and let's get to the other side here. I'm gonna pull this one up, and pull it down, pull it up, pull it down, and pull it up, and then rotate it forward. So we get that nice point feeling. Sort of. And then I want to take this guy. Maybe we'll go back to 3. Let's go here. Just delay everything 1 frame. And delay those guys 1 frame. And delay the tip 1 frame. So there's some successive movement throughout. I do want this all to hit on 18 though. Okay. Because I want those all to hit on 18 and 42. So delay all. Got to mix up the movement here somehow, though. So we'll do the mid and the tip, and this one will delay all of those. A frame there, a frame there. Okay, let's go to the watch that. See if we. So if you can see that point's real sharp. We got that little curl up on the finger. Maybe we'll tone down what we have on the tip of the finger, though. Because I feel like it's a little too much movement. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this guy. Get that nice sharp point in there. Curl it back in here. Nice sharp point there. Curl it back in here. And bring it back down. Now I wanted to tweak this pose so that it's really pointing down at the ground. Okay, let's go and watch it. Let's did want to try. Oh, I think I wanted to. No, that feels alright. Maybe we could even play out this midsection a little bit more. And we'll need to play out this guy a little bit more as well. Let's see here. And then I think we want to do a little bit of swing that way, swing that way, swing that, and swing that way, back again. Just so there's a little bit of out and in and out swing. So let's see. Okay, let's go ahead and save what we have here. Now let's go ahead and do we have some shoulder controllers? Because that would be nice to get into. Clavicle. Alright. So let's do some rotate now. Rotate X. Okay, do some translate Y then. So we'll raise it up here and put it down there. Raise it up here and we'll put it down there. Raise it up here. And then we'll push that forward a frame as well, so that the shoulder is kind of leading the movement here. So push that forward a frame. And let's go to the other side and do the same thing. So, wait. Clavicle right controller has a translate, but clavicle left controller only has rotate. Okay, that means that we have to do something a little bit different than with that one. Dang. Okay, I guess we'll just get rid of that because I don't want uneven. Yeah. Oh well. Nice idea, but we'd have to offset and do a bunch, so I'm not gonna worry about that here. Do a little bit of rotate Z, a little bit of rotate Z, a little bit there, a little bit there, and a little bit back, so let's see. I think I want to go back in and do a little bit of up and down on those hips. Okay. And we'll delay that a frame so those hips don't hit at the same time as the root here. So first off, I'm gonna minimize that, shrink down the translation there, and then we'll delay it a frame or so. Maybe 2 frames. Let's see. Just try 1 for right now. Let's see here. We'll just play up that belly a little bit more by doing that. And now let's go ahead and do a little bit on those ears here. I don't think I'm going to do a lot on the head because I'll do extra on the ears. Do some rotate. See there, just a little since they're such big ears there. And we'll offset them so they're not hitting all at the same time, and then do a little successive movement throughout them as well. Let's see how that feels. Okay, first off, let's go ahead and already just delay them one frame from what so they're not hitting at the same time as that head is. Okay, now let's go ahead and grab. Are these gonna work the same way, or are we gonna have to? Yeah. Okay, gonna do these ones. So do a little swing that way, and that way, and that way, and that way, and back again. Actually, I'm gonna put that back to do it on 12. But we'll do it the other way around. Let's go move some. And we can should be able to get a little bit of that going there. Get those nice angles if we can. Let's see here. And delay that for about 2 frames. Invert it. Let's see what we got here. Okay, I think we could exaggerate the tip of that ear a little bit more, and also the middle part. Not a lot on the middle, but a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and watch that now. Okay. Well, we already did that. And those are, I'm going to set up so the timing's the same on the ears right now, just so I have a nice pattern here just to start with. And let's go with 12. Rotate Z. 24. Rotate Z. 36. Rotate Z. And 40. Rotate Z. And then what did I do these on? 8. So 8. And what should that be? 12 frames from that should be 20. 32. And 44. And back again. See, once you have one set up, then you can kind of copy the pattern of the other. I actually feel like the second one's a little better. So let's compare the movement between the two. Let's exaggerate the other one a little bit more. And let's compare the other two. Let's exaggerate that other one a little bit more. Okay, let's go to more 7. And then let's go ahead and take everything on this ear and push it forward a frame, and everything on this ear, and we'll delay it a frame. And that should give us 2 frames between, so that should give us enough mix up on those ears so they don't feel like they're hitting at the same time. And I don't like how much side to side there is on that head, so let's get him a little more faced forward there. Faced forward there, forward there, and forward there. We're just rotating to offset the rotation that's in the chest on the head, so the head doesn't look like it's going at the same time. And then let's go ahead. We can still do a little bit of that, so maybe we'll tone it down, because I don't mind a little bit of that rotation being in there, but I don't want as much as was before. So let's go ahead and check that now. A little bit of side to side doesn't hurt. And then maybe let's do a little bit of a swing to the head here. Is going to go a long way with this stuff, since we have the ears and we have this giant neck and everything. We've got to be careful that we're not. And then let's go ahead and we'll actually tilt the head a little bit that way as well. A little bit that way, a little bit that way, a little bit that way. Back to 0. Let's go and watch that now. Okay, and let's take what we have on the head and delay it a frame. So let's delay 2 frames. Use both. I'm just kind of playing at this point, see if we can't get a little bit more fun with it, since we have that extra neck controller here. So what's that now? Alright, that's feeling okay. Now let's see if we can't get a little bit of up and down here. Probably going to be too much, so let's even it out and scale it down here. A little bit of a longer video today, just since there's so many different things with this rig. It gives us a lot of opportunities to try out different things. Head and flinging it back from side to side, then nice bouncy head. Maybe a little bit of rotate Y. trying to get a nice swing throughout here. Okay, it's starting to feel right. We need more side to side. So let's clean that up and let's see if we can't get that nice side to side here. Let's go more. Okay, that feels pretty good. I think maybe even out the up and downs a little bit more. Don't think we did as good of a job as we could have done in that. Okay, let's see here. And let's take the rotate wise and we'll delay them one frame, just so that the up and down and the side to side aren't hitting at the same time. So we get a nice little side to side with a little dip down in there. Okay, if we're doing a side angle though, I think we're going to have to tone down everything because it looks okay from the front angle. From the side though, I think there's just too much up and down here. So let's watch that now. Okay, still I can tone it down a little more because I like to do kind of a 3/4. Could do a side angle. Let's see. We'll try to do a 3/4 angle though, because then it kind of gives a little bit of the stuff that we did towards the front and back and a little bit of the side movement there. Okay, let's go ahead and save what we have, and I think we spent a little more time than I was thinking on that head movement, and now it feels a little too over the top. So that's something that you're going to have to look out for in your own animation too, to be aware of when you're spending too much time and when you can spend a little more. Do a little bit of side to side on that back tail here. Let's see. Okay, I think there's a little bit of too big of a jump in X and Y, or in the X rotate right there. Okay, let's get more side. Okay, it's feeling alright. Let's go ahead and see if we can get a little swing in that jaw as well. And I still want to do a little bit more with the feet and the fingers. Do they have one for just the job. I do. Alright. Okay. Let's go ahead and pull it back a little bit more. We'll do a little bit of rotate. A little bit of rotate there. Let's go out there. Let's do a little bit on the teeth here. We'll have the teeth pull. Wow, I think that might be fun to pull those teeth in and out. Might give this the idea of the flappy jaw there by doing those teeth. Might be a little too much because the teeth wouldn't really move on their own, but if we could give so let's delay that about 2 frames, and let's mix these in a little more. Okay, let's go ahead and use that. So that way we could give a little bit of rotate to them. There we go. Just a little bit. Let's see here. Okay, let's go and save what we have here. And let's do a little bit of, we want to do just a little bit of keep alive on those hands and then on the feet as well, just so they don't completely lock off. We'll go ahead and kind of keep with what we have where we clench it a little bit tighter there and we loosen a little bit more there. Clench a little tighter and a little bit more loose. And then back again. And then go ahead and delay all that 1 frame. Then delay the mids 1 frame. And we'll delay the tips 1 more frame so that it's not all hitting at the same time. And we'll go ahead and move that all 1 frame forward and have that all 1 frame back so that those 2 fingers have a 2 frame difference between them as well. Okay, and then just a little bit on the thumb as well. We'll do that on 12s. Okay, feels a little bit looser now. Now let's go ahead and actually, one other thing I wanted to do was keep a little frame variation throughout the thumb so we can get that successive movement in there. And then let's go ahead and save our file again. Remember, it's good to save multiple versions and to save often. And let's go ahead and grab the tip, the mid, and the root. And I'm going to loosen them up a little bit there. And clench them up a little bit there. just so we have a little, they call this keep alive, so yeah, the rest of it doesn't lock off there, and just hold that same position. And then we want to delay the mids, and delay the tips. And then let's go ahead and grab everything here, delay it 1 frame, then grab everything here, and push it forward a frame. And then let's get into that thumb. Have it a little bit looser there, a little bit tighter there, a little bit looser there. And then we want to delay 1 frame there. And okay, let's go ahead. Got nice little points there. We got some flop in the head and in the neck. I like that neck. It's funky. It's a funky neck. Now we got that nice little bounce in the tail. Okay, let's go ahead and save that. And let's see if we can't get a little bit more in those feet. We'll do a little bit of flop on the toes and a little bit of movement on the heel. And I think that'll help keep those alive there. Oh, and we've got 3 different toes there to work with. Alright, that'll make that fun. So I'll rotate those back there and lift them up here. Give us 2 frames and 0 them out. And then we'll vary the timing on that as well. So let's take what we have there. Oh, sorry about that. We'll set what we have at 24. Rotate them back there. Lift them up there. Give us 2 frames and we'll flatten them out there. So let's see here. Okay, then we want to delay that far 1 frame and push that inward 1 frame forward. So that'll have that successive movement in the toes as well. Now let's go ahead and exaggerate that middle toe a little bit more. Swoop. I think I'll try something different though. I'll push that toe in and I'll leave that middle toe for last, so it'll be like inward toe, outward toe, middle toe. So let's watch that now. Okay, let's go ahead and save that again, and let's get into the other side here. I think that's a fun idea, having that middle toe be that way. So I want to set what we have there, and then we'll rotate them back, lift them up, and 0 it out. Go 36, key selected, drag it back, and lift it up. And push that inner toe in. Just so there's some like uniformity to that's how he would. Okay, let's go ahead and save that. And then we'll do a little bit of the heal, and I think that'll call it good for today. So we'll do a little bit of raise, and a little bit of lower. A little bit of raise, and a little bit of lower. Just so there's some movement through there. And it doesn't have to be a lot. So there's a little bit of pressure that moves throughout those. Feels a little bit better. Yep. And let's get into this one. So it's going to be a little bit of lower, and a little bit of raise, and a little bit of lower, and a little bit of raise. Okay, let's go with one more second. Alright, I feel like that's working pretty good. So let's take a look back at where we started here today. Oh, it's getting a little dark, so let's go ahead and turn a light on here as well. Okay, so we're looking at Osamu Tezuka, and he's the godfather of manga, one of the original founders of anime and manga in that style. And he came up with these great quotes that I don't consider them pictures. In reality, I'm not drawing. I'm writing a story with a unique type of symbol. And keep thinking of that, in that there's a lot that you're not just singing a song, you're telling a story. You're not just sculpting, you're telling a story. You're not just painting, you're telling a story. You're not just animating, you're telling a story. You're not just doodling, you're telling a story. And all of this stuff, consider the whole feeling behind what you're doing. And then comics are an international language. They can cross boundaries and generations. Comics are a bridge between all cultures. And I think that really encapsulates more than just comics, though. I think most audio formats and music could be considered in that, and also most visual types of storytelling are really important to us as human beings. It doesn't matter, you know, if you see a picture that you love, that resonates with you, it doesn't matter who created it. I mean, it does in the sense, but because it's important to be a creator and to recognize that. But there's a universality of something, if it's good enough, that resonates with people beyond young or old, beyond race, beyond religion, beyond any of those, that just hits that human center of us. And I think that's really important to look at and to remember, that, you know, to try to create those amazing pieces of art that just really go beyond you as an individual and reach out to other people. And I think that's important. So I think that's what I'll leave you with again today. Thanks again for liking and subscribing to the channel. Try out this rig, it's really fun. I had a fun time doing this one. But yeah, you guys are amazing. Keep being awesome. Keep creating amazing things, and we'll see you tomorrow for some more animation. All right?